wedding before. This is my first mom show.
Guys, I mean, we're just out here trying to pop your cherry, girl.
First time for everything.
All right, Bretman, obviously we are here today to promote the book, right? It's all about the book tour. Guys, who here is excited to read Bretman's book? Bretman, personally, I have actually read it front to back. I could not put it down. I was like giggling. And then I had a moment where I shed some tears. You really took us on like an emotional roller coaster.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the book and like what you want people to take from it.
Perfect. So I actually started writing the book last time I was in the Philippines, which was 2019. I had just got back home in Hawaii and my dad passed, and I was like, I think I'm ready to write a book. And 4 years later, I'm back home releasing my book, and it's a full circle moment. And you look so beautiful tonight, Miss Nicole.
Thank you! Guys, kapag sinabi ni Bretman, you're off yan. You take it the moment. Oh, huwag yung tanggalin sa socials nyo yun, ha? Bretman, okay lang ba mag-Tagalog ng konti?
Konti. Alam ko konti.
Okay, sige. Bretman, I remember you said in the book, you talked about there was a time where you didn't feel like you had anything to talk about, right? Remember? And your
Yes.
manager asked you?
Yes.
And then eventually, I think you said you were writing in your journal, and you're like, oh, I actually got a lot of stories. Take us through that moment.
Yeah, so when I was offered the book, I was 18 years old. I had just signed with my agency, and I thought I had nothing to write about. I thought I was just gonna post, like, you know, tasteful nudes, and it
It
was
was
just
gonna be a coffee
a
table
coffee
book.
table book with, like, you know, kind of like Kim Kardashian, Rihanna did. But I think I was just looking over my 3 journals that I had that I started since I was in high school, and it was just like full of like little things that I wanted to write about, and it really helped with the process of writing the book, and it made it so easy. But it did take 3 years.
Okay, well, 3 years is a very long time to write a book. And from, like, as a reader's perspective, when I'm reading the book, it really feels like we're just on the couch and we're just like gabbing and talking about our lives, and we're just sharing stories about your life. So it seems like it just kind of flowed out of you. It's so easy. But was there any, like, hard part or that you struggled with?
Honestly, I think the hardest.
Girl, you know what? Take it. Take it.
This is a lot to take in. I love. I would say the hardest part about writing the book is honestly, period. Trying to be like vulnerable, because as a Filipino, I'm very like, I think everything is a joke. There's a silver lining in everything, and I think just like letting myself cry and be vulnerable and like not joke about everything was probably the hardest part of writing the book for me. Is being serious.
No, seriously, because like there were parts in the book where, like, obviously it comes so natural to you to be, as you mentioned, everyone's funny cousin, right? But there were so many moments where even I was like, oh my god, he actually shared this. Like, there are very vulnerable moments, and it's difficult. I mean, for me, if I were, as a reader of your book, if I were to even open up about some of that stuff to my friends, I would have a hard time, and those are my closest friends, and you're making this public, girl. Yeah. So, like, take us through that vulnerability.
I think for my goal with the book is honestly for just you guys to kind of see yourself in the book. I know everybody doesn't really share the same unique story as I do, but I'm sure there's a part or a chapter in the book where you see yourself in and where you kind of relate to Bretman Rock in a way. I mean, there's people out there with divorced parents. There's people out there who kind of had to assimilate into a new country. There's people out there who, you know, English is not necessarily their first language and have to navigate life. And obviously there's people out there who are baklas as well.
It seems like we're all out here
Yeah,
today.
mga bakla. And so I think in the book, it's titled You're That Bitch, and not I'm That Bitch, because I think it is about the reader at the end of the day. teacher crushes. Cause
Were there your real names?
no, they weren't their real names, but it was so obvious of who they were.
Yeah.
And I know they know who they are.
And Hawaii is very small.
Hawaii is very small.
Yeah.
And so if Mr. Brett Kagawa is watching this, yes, it was you.
Okay, my question is, after reading the book, did any of your teachers slide into your DMs?
Not yet, at least, but it's always open, Mr. Kagawa.
Alright, speaking of sliding into the DMs, girl, by the way, we're just making this a conversation. I'm just kind of going off the cuff, so feel free to cut me off, and if you have anything you want to share, feel free to do that. We're just in my living room, girl.
I know.
None of these people are here.
Your living room is crazy.
Guys, minsan nakakaangat-angat lang sa buhay ng slide. Okay, so I wanted to ask, you have gone through so many transformations, right? Like you did makeup, and then you even started doing like serial feedback or reviews.
Yes, yes.
And then now you're also an author, bitch.
Period. She does a lot of things.
She
I
does
wear
a lot of
hats.
things. All right. And now in the book, you also mentioned that you possibly would want to be an action comedy star.
Yes.
Okay. Are you possibly open to doing a film in Manila?
Of course. I feel like after this trip, even it took me like 2 days to kind of realize that I need to come home every year and like kind of do something here every year at work. And I think film would be so fun. My favorite things to watch as a kid were like superhero movies.
Wait,
And
like what?
I love like Plastic Man, Gagamboy, Captain Barba, Voltes, like Miss Jaja the Torna, I remember just like moving to America and Super Ego was the last thing that I remember. Like yes, and so I feel like if I were to film something, I would love to do like a superhero movie here, like Super Bakla or something.
Girl, what about like Becky Man?
Yeah, Becky Man.
Becky Girl. Sino manunood nun?
Becky Man Rock.
Box office hit na agad.
Yeah, I know.
Wala ka pang ginagawa, hit na. Alright, so you also talked about as that little Filipino Becky child moving to the US, right? What was the hardest part of that? What was the transition from being in the Philippines and then not speaking English and then moving to that 25-person home?
I think moving to Hawaii definitely helped with the transition of moving to America because when I moved to Hawaii, everyone there, has anyone here been to Hawaii before? Okay, so a couple of you. So you would know that a lot of people there are like Filipino already.
Yes.
And so when I got off the plane and seeing all like the brown people and all the Filipinos, I really thought I was in Cebu.
You're like, oh, I'm
Is
in
this
Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a hard time assimilating, but it was honestly the language barrier. That was a thing. Miss K's here today.
Where is she?
She used to
Stand up, girl. Take a moment.
She looks so good, but she was my biggest bully. And she used to bully me about not learning how to, like not knowing enough English. So I made a point to prove her wrong, and I learned English like so fast. Just so I could say it in your face. My mom is also here, you guys. She's on Facebook Live.
She's on Facebook Live. Hi, guys. Pakita mo naman yung second, third, fourth, fifth floor. Oh, tapos na daw. Naunahan na. Okay, so in the book, you also share a lot of business advice. You go through your crushes, some hardship in your life. But I think this is one thing a lot of Pinoys, and guys, idadamay ko na kayo dito dahil hindi lang
story is a little bit interesting because my ex broke up with me as often as he had. Like, it was like every month, girl.
Oh, it was like a monthly breakup.
Yes, it was like every 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, he's gonna break up with me anytime. Yes. And so I think I got over it really fast because when he finally had left me, I already left him in my head. So I broke up with him in my head before he broke up with me in real life. So I think the transition to that was like flawless.
You were already prepared.
Yeah, when he left me, I was like, bitch, I already left you out in here.
Now my question is he trying to come back?
No.
Oh no?
He better fucking not. The doors are closed.
Did you block him?
I blocked him in everything, everywhere. He didn't have social media, so it was really easy to block. I just changed my number.
Okay. Okay.
I literally moved houses like a couple weeks after he dumped me, and so like I didn't have a stalker because he didn't know where I was.
Perfect.
I moved all the way up in like the mountains. You guys know where I live.
Everyone knows. We all see it with your chickens and all your pets. Okay, so the advice is, I think, if you're not, correct me if I'm wrong, the advice is, kapag iniwanan, girl, level up sa life.
Yeah,
Level
for sure.
up. Diba, ako na level up dahil Bretman Room tayo in-interview mo, guys! I love you too. All right.
I didn't know that there was a big TV with my
Yeah,
kids.
this is, girl, the whole wall can see you. Give him a moment to that camera. All right, Bretman, as that little kid who was playing with your sister's Barbies and getting touched up by your grandma, did you ever think that you would get this far?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes?
I wrote a lot in the book about how delusional I've always been. I used to walk to school listening to people screaming my name and like, so yes, and my grandma also told me that I was going to be famous, and so I never knew what that was when I was a little boy, but I think it always had intrigued me, like being in front of the camera, being in front of people and performing. I used to like perform in my family, so honestly, like in the most humblest way, yes, I did know. I did know.
Okay, well, you definitely manifested that, girl, but you also mentioned that there are moments where you have some moments of imposter syndrome, right?
For sure.
And I'm sure we all have moments like that where, you know, sometimes we're like, do I deserve to be here? Am I really supposed to be the one doing this? Am I the right person for the job? Am I in the right place? Do you have like any tips on how you talk yourself out of that, or how do you get yourself out of it?
Yes, for sure. I think I have imposter syndrome, especially in the industry that I'm in, because obviously I think, especially in the beginning part of my career, nobody looked like Bretman Rock. And I think what helped me with my imposter syndrome is kind of just realizing that I am an imposter at the end of the day, and it's me that's going to look like me for the rest of my life. So looking for someone that looks like me everywhere I go is truly a waste of time. It truly is, and I think that way with my imposter syndrome now. It's like, I'm over feeling bad about myself. I'm over feeling like I don't belong. I'm over feeling like I don't deserve anything. And I started just like claiming things. I know that that's a big word on TikTok, but like I just claim everything that I have now, and I know I deserve everything that I have because I know how much Bretman Rock works, and I know how much seeds Bretman Pebble planted for me. And so, you know, I work too hard to have imposter syndrome now, so yeah, but just know that it's normal, but one day it'll click to you that everything you have coming your way you deserve because you worked for it. You're a good person.
Exactly. And everything you went through in that book is what brought you to here, to now.
Yes.
Right?
So, especially in the Philippines, I can't really have imposter syndrome because everybody here looks like me, so if anything, we're all imposters. Like, who is the real Bretman Rock here?
All right, Bretman, so we're going to move on to the book signing in just a little bit, but
Yes.
I wanted to ask
I
you,
can't wait.
do you have any life lessons that you would like to impart on your fans before we start signing?
Life lessons. Oh my gosh.
Or any like last message to everyone?
yourself. And I know that's easier than said than done, but truly once you become you, or you were supposed to be, the world is truly your oyster and everything will just flow. Worries will be gone. Just be yourself, be unapologetically Filipino, be unapologetically queer, be unapologetically moreno,